Hi guys, Marian here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about my personal journey with modesty and how it relates to Judaism. I have a feeling you guys would be interested in this because I get so many comments and DMs on my Instagram about if my hair is real, is it a wig, or why don't I cover my hair, or why do I dress so immodestly, and just lots and lots of questions about it. I actually made a whole separate video on my hair. If you're curious, I will link that one down below. But I just wanted to talk about how I've related to modesty and what I've done throughout my life and how I got to where I am today. So let's jump in. I'd also, of course, love to hear your journey. I know there's so many Jewish women out there who have wrestled with this, struggled with this, loved this. It's been a huge blessing in their life, and the feelings towards modesty and how we dress really runs the spectrum. So I wanted to just contribute my personal take, and of course I would love to hear yours in the comments. So I'm just going to kind of go chronologically here because things have really changed throughout my life. So in elementary school, I went to a Jewish day school that I absolutely loved, and it was traditional for girls, or I should say it was the rule, I think, for girls to wear dresses on Shabbat, and I absolutely loved this. So on Fridays, we would wear like our best fancy dresses to school, and although I was quite the tomboy throughout most of elementary school, I loved dressing up for Fridays. I loved getting new dresses for Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays, and just loved wearing a dress on Friday. The only problem I remember is if you had PE on Fridays, you had to bring separate clothes. I never view that as anything like unfair or like a burden. I just kind of remember that sticking out to me, that the girls all had to bring separate clothes for PE on Fridays. And I don't know what it was like for you guys if you grew up in the 90s, but the boys all wore these like silk shirts for Shabbat. They had short sleeves and like crazy patterns. That was like the style in the 90s. And then like almost MC Hammer style pants, like dress pants, but like really baggy in the tops. Anyways, so in elementary school, that was the main thing, was girls wore dresses on Fridays, and we did have to be a bit modest in how we dress, but it was almost a non-issue because we were really sheltered. It was like small Jewish day school. Although it went to 6th grade, all of those kind of middle school dress issues of like girls wanting to wear certain things, in my memory, just really did not exist in elementary school. Nobody was trying to push any boundaries. There was no enforcing of any rules because everyone just kind of dressed like kids, if that makes sense. But we definitely wore pants, shorts, all of those things. I just don't remember having any issues about the dress code or anything like that. Fast forward to middle school. Again, I went to a Jewish day school for middle school, but a different one. And I remember very distinctly the rule about how long your shorts had to be. I still do it today. You had to be with your hands like down against your sides. The shorts had to go below the tips of your fingers. That was like the main rule about shorts. You're not allowed to have short shorts. And then of course, no bare midriff. And I believe there was also a rule about no spaghetti straps. I don't remember exactly if that was a rule or just like a point of contention, but I remember that pretty distinctly. And that when we weren't in school, then we would like wear our spaghetti strap tops. And then I would say in my family personally, like our family was just pretty conservative and modest, and that definitely was a value that we had growing up. So I was not one to wear short shorts or spaghetti straps or anything like that because it was really like not okay, you know, in my family. So I just didn't really grow up with that desire. And also I think I was really body conscious. I feel like I, you know, like I was a tiny skinny little kid, but like elementary and middle school, I was like, I don't know if you would call it chubby, but I was definitely not like tiny. So I just didn't really have the desire to kind of be wearing skimpy clothes. I just kind of preferred to cover up, and I always was getting those messages from home and from school that like that was the way it should be. But again, we wore pants and things like that, but never super tight, never like super revealing. And that sort of continued throughout high school. High school was my most religious time. I was really involved in USY, which is the youth movement for conservative Jews. So a lot of my spare time was spent doing really Jewish activities, and there was a lot of prayer in USY. Like, it was very focused around religion, and there was even a time where I started wearing skirts just to kind of see. I really wanted my boyfriend to wear a kippah. That was like huge to me. I wanted to be like that type of couple. Like, I would wear a skirt and he would wear a kippah. I would say it was also pretty common in USY for some girls to wear skirts. Like, that was kind of trendy and fashionable. I don't know at all what it's like now. Just like those few years I happened to be there, being kind of religious in that way outwardly was pretty trendy. But of course, like, girls would wear anything. So that's when I was like sort of skewing more towards that. I really liked that. I liked covering up. I felt more confident dressed that way, and felt that it showed the world that I was Jewish. Like, I was sharing my Jewish identity by wearing a skirt. Now, I have no idea if anyone else noticed that or anything like that, but to me it was like wearing a Jewish star necklace. Then I studied abroad in Israel, and this was a huge turning point in my life. If you've watched my videos before, you'll hear me reference this time and how much it changed Judaism for me. So in Israel, there's not a substantial conservative music movement. It does exist. It's called the Masorti movement, but it's just not as strong as it in the US, and you don't see it as much. So there's they don't even call themselves Reform, but like Israelis who consider themselves not religious, but you'll often see them wearing like kippahs or things like that. They're very Jewish, but they don't go to synagogue, or, you know, they would never go to a Reform synagogue. When they're going to go to synagogue, they go to an Orthodox one. And there's this whole dichotomy and idea there that there's the Orthodox that live their Jewish life, and then there's regular Israeli citizens who think that the Orthodox are doing it right, but they're just not gonna put all that stuff, time and effort into their life. There's none of this middle ground, and there's none of this way of viewing Judaism through a different lens there. Or if there is, it's very small. So when I arrived in Israel, I was definitely not Orthodox, but I was also definitely not secular Israeli. And I was just kind of was like, I don't even know what to make of this. So that's just kind of the background of what was going on. And then I also happened to lose a lot of weight that year. It was just a time in my life, like, I was in college, I was young, I was meeting people, and I just wanted to like look good, feel good. So I was a lot thinner than I had been. And suddenly I really wanted to dress however I wanted. So I wore lots of spaghetti straps, I wore short skirts, like I just did whatever I wanted and felt really good about it. And I was very confident and very happy with my choices. And this kind of coincided with walking away a bit from Judaism. Like, I experienced in Israel just pushed me away from what I had grown up with. It was like, oh, it had all been for nothing because this didn't exist in Israel. It was an identity crisis. Anyways, so came back, and then once me and my husband started dating and got engaged and had kids, that's when Judaism became more important to me, and I sort of went back to my roots and how much I had loved having it as a part of my life. And I realized that like all this identity crisis I had had in Israel did not need to come with me for the rest of my life. I live in America, the conservative movement is thriving, like I didn't need to worry about all this mishigas going on in Israel. So I would say now I have a completely new concept of modesty. So while I have been pregnant 4 times in the past like 6 years, my body has gone through huge changes. I'm not really dressing like skimpy or anything like that, just mostly because like I'm an old mom now. Like, I'm not really in the mood to. But now to me, I dress modestly for myself. Like, if I'm wearing a tank top, that to me is my version of modesty. Like, I just dress nicely and I honor my body. I am so beyond thankful for everything my body has gone through, giving birth and all of that. And to me, I'm just honoring it. And it's also in our like American culture, in no way provocative to dress how I dress, like this or with a tank top or anything like that. And to me, if others have the view that that somehow is not modest, I'm like, that's on them. I try not to judge it because I understand like everyone was brought up in different ways, but I cannot agree with this idea that women should have to be any more covered than men are, personally. I also breastfeed in public and I never use a nursing cover. Sometimes I lift my shirt from like the bottom up, so my belly is kind of showing when I'm nursing, but sometimes I have to pull the top down, in which case my boob is out. This has been on an airplane sitting next to people, Disneyland, like literally I've nursed babies everywhere. I've had 3 babies. I've nursed them till they each were almost 2 years old or beyond. So there's just been lots of nursing and lots of nursing in public. And it's something I'm actually a huge advocate about because it's so important that you should feel free and able to do that and not shy or embarrassed. The only time I felt a little bit shy is on an airplane, like if I'm sitting next to somebody, I'm like half naked, but then I'm like, you know what, that's on them. Baby's gotta eat. If I put a cover on him, forget it. Like they're not gonna feed. They're gonna be like, what is this fun blanket? Anyways. So now I'm on YouTube and I get all these comments all the time about how I dress and if it's modest, if it's not modest. And again, I'm just like, that's on y'all. Like if you have this view that I'm somehow immodest or whatnot, like that's on you. I'm so sorry that you were brought up to think that way or to feel that way. And I know it's empowering to some people, in which case like more power to you, but I'm just so confident in my Judaism and in the way I dress. And I feel that it honors my body. I try to look the best I can and to just celebrate the gifts of life I've been given. So that's my journey with modesty. Feel free to ask me any questions below and share your journey. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to hear more about these kind of topics, and give this video a big thumbs up if you like it. Hit the red subscribe button. It really helps my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!